What made us start our podcast?
Looking back at our last season, which episode was your absolute favorite to record and why?
What is a personal red flag or bad habit you're actively trying to unlearn right now? Welcome to the Point of View podcast. My name is Osatohamen.
And my name's Uyiosa.
And here we are today for another episode.
Yep, we're super excited to start season 2 officially. It's a new year, new everything, so we're ready to jump right in.
Yes, like she said, it's season 2, and so we decided that we wanted to start out this season with a Q&A. I feel like we've had a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new followers all over all our platforms, and we just wanted to make sure you guys knew who we were. We talk about movies, we talk about TV shows, we give our point of view on it and our insights, but who are we? You know, who is Osatohamen and who is Uyiosa?
Very true.
So why don't we jump into our first question that someone asked us? What made us start our podcast? I feel like this was honestly a really good first question to go with.
Yeah,
because it is why we're here. It's why we have these mics, why you guys are watching this video or listening to this episode. But this all started back in 2022. I was in my freshman year of college.
4 years ago now.
Oh my goodness. That's too long.
I know.
But I was in my freshman year of college and I had this desire to do something. I was thinking about YouTube, but I didn't know if I wanted to necessarily do vlogs and, the typical YouTube things that were happening 5 years ago. Emma Chamberlain was someone I used to watch. I wasn't sure if that was something I would be consistent with and something I even wanted to do. So I was like, what can I do? And then I was like, oh wait, there's podcasts. Like, I love to talk. Like, everyone that meets me knows I will chat your ear off. Like, I don't stop talking. And so I was like, why not start a podcast? So back in 2022, I did hours and hours of research. I knew what equipment to get. I knew how to post. I had all the information I needed to start this podcast. And I was taking this English class, thankfully, that at the time I was able to use one of the recording studios that my school had for some reason that students could use.
Yeah, a lot of colleges, I think.
They do? Okay. Yeah, they had one that I could use. And I went and I sat down for my first episode and it just felt wrong. It wasn't working. It wasn't right. I love to talk. I can talk. I feel like I a lot of times can talk very eloquently, but it sounded jumbled. It sounded weird. I didn't like it. I was like, what's going on? I was like, okay, maybe it's my first episode. I tried again. It didn't work. And then this was when I was in a school not at home. And then I transferred the year later to a school nearby my house. And again, I picked it up. I was like, okay, I'm at my house. I have more free time, the comfort of my own home. Let me start filming again. Let me try again. And again, it was just off. It felt wrong. And I was like, what is going on? Why am I struggling to talk about topics that I enjoy and I like? And one day I was complaining to a coworker of mine. I was like, this is so frustrating. I feel like it would be so much easier if I had a really good friend that I could, potentially see myself recording multiple episodes with. And I just didn't have anyone around me at the time that was that close. All my really good friends lived elsewhere and it just didn't work. So I was like, oh, that's so frustrating. And she came up with this idea. She was like, well, you have so many sisters. Why don't you ask one of them? And I was like, wait, why didn't I even think of my sisters? I kind of understand why I didn't. Uyiosa is 4 years younger than me. And that's just...
And the other two are 6 and then 10 years
younger
so
it's a huge age gap. And it was just never something I necessarily thought of to think about them, to think, oh, let me go and record a podcast with them or make a podcast with them. But I was like, wait, that's so true. I can ask Uyiosa. We share a room, so we can share a podcast too. If you remember that quote, you remember it. But
No.
You don't remember it?
No.
I said it all the time.
Yeah. Okay, I remember. Yeah.
The beginning of our podcast, I would always say that. That was that was my slogan.
I don't. You say it a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember you saying it one time, but other than that.
This girl.
Yeah. It's been a year, guys. It's been a year.
It has been a whole year. I don't know if we said this.
2025 has been a long
year. This
is
episode 42 when you're watching this. We have filmed 42 episodes that we published. It's crazy. But I was like, let me go ask Yosa. Let me see if she wants to, if she would be down. And do you want to keep going from there?
Yeah, just taking off of that. I think kind of like when you kind of asked me, I remember we were literally sitting on the couch because it was Christmas break, I think 2 years ago
Yeah, I think
now.
so.
Yeah, or like winter break, whatever, 2 years ago now. So I was like just finishing up my junior year in high school.
Mhm.
You also would have been a junior in college, like
Yeah.
technically maybe like a senior because you
Mhm.
graduate early. And so like you kind of asked me, and it, like kind of like you were saying, like I think me and our other sisters never really came up as options because like that was just never something that we'd like talked about
Mhm.
or desired or were like super passionate about. But when you asked me, I was kind of just like I was like, okay. I was kind of like
Yeah.
caught off guard, but I was also like, I know you don't ask people things for no reason. Also, I know like when, especially in our family, but like with you, when you're passionate about something, it's like, okay, that's what you want to do. And so when you asked me, I was like, you know what? Sure. I'm a very go with the flow kind of person. Like
Mhm.
it takes a lot for me to say no to you, like like a lot. So like when she asked me, I was like, let's do it. I mean, little did I know it was going to be a whole like year journey and so much after that. But I mean, I can't even like doubt the process or everything that's happened since. But I think kind of not even what made you kind of made me start the podcast in a way, but I think kind of just like the filming and the ideas and the research and all the editing that went into it is kind of like what made us continue it, or at least what
Mhm.
made me continue it. And just finding that love of it, not that I didn't love it at first, but it was kind of like, okay, this is like my sister's thing and I want to help her out. Like it's cool, but I'm like, it doesn't really matter. But like now that like I'm here and like we're in it, and it's like even just filming, you're like, okay, what's the next step? And I want to go bigger, better, higher. So
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's been a long journey since this year, and it hasn't been easy. This past year has definitely been tough. Like with just so many things happening in all our lives. I feel like life is so busy. It's hard to sit down and film and
yeah.
have to plan and just edit. Oh my goodness, editing takes forever.
Oof.
But I mean, we're here, and I just like there's this feeling of just when you sit down and you talk. Like I feel like the most fun part about this whole process is us sitting down and just having a conversation with each other, and then to you guys that are listening or
Yeah.
watching as well. I think that that's where I find joy. The other parts is just the tedious things you're kind of forced to do, but like the true joy and the true happiness of like starting this podcast and having this podcast, it's just sitting down and having these conversations. And so we started this because we wanted to talk. We started this because we thought that this would be a really viable kind of side career and the kind of paths we're trying to do in our lives. And
Yeah.
here we are, episode 42,
For
season
sure.
2.
Yeah, there you go. I think kind of jumping into our next question, which kind of goes along with the journey we've been on. It says, looking back at our last season, which episode was your absolute favorite to record and why?
Interesting.
Um,
Let me
I
look
mean, I already
back.
kind of have one in mind, but again, like it's been 42 now episodes, so I'm like, I'm sure like I have a top five, but I think if I was gonna choose my favorite, yeah, I think I've actually never. I don't even know the title of this one, but from this was like the Hunger Games video that we did. Probably like this was 6 or 7 months ago.
Wow.
I know I said 6, 7, but
Oh my
this,
goodness.
but this was in June, so I'm like, this was about 6, 7 months ago, and I hate. My roommates hate me because I taught them 6, 7, and now they can't stop.
I love it. It's such a like older Gen Z joke. Like I feel like the little kids were into it. I feel like the people that are really into it are like older Gen Z,
No,
and
but I feel
like
like I see so
really
many little
really little.
kids.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Really little kids are really into it, and then really older Gen Z, like the ones that are like in middle school
Yeah,
and
but like
like
the middle,
high
it's like
school, they're like,
no.
this is so lame. But we just
I don't know. It just became a thing. It like it died down and then it like picked up this last couple of months.
it's funny.
Yeah, but my favorite episode to film was this Hunger Games video. You guys should go check it out. It was really good. We were talking about the Hunger Games, the first movie specifically, but And again, I'm biased towards the side because Hunger Games is one of my favorite book series and movie series of all time. But I kind of just love like the way we've like run this podcast so that we're able to delve deeper into these characters and the meanings behind what they do, the drive behind what they do, the people that they are is like more than just like, you know, the one or two actions that they did. But I think just diving deep into like Peeta, Katniss, Finnick, Haymitch, Gale, even all of those characters, like whether we like them or not, it was just so interesting to like have these like kind of different perspectives but also similar perspectives. And as we kept talking about it, we were posting the videos, we would see people comment like, oh, this is such an interesting take, or yeah, this is exactly what that character's like. And it was just so cool seeing like a community, because the Hunger Games community is so huge, even though the movies came out 14 years ago.
It's been
almost,
so long.
like, from
my
the very
gosh.
first movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like people are still so obsessed with that movie, myself included. So it was really cool, I feel like, for that episode to film and see it kind of like do pretty well like on TikTok and even like YouTube, and just to have people to converse with, for sure.
Yeah, no, that was honestly one of my top favorites too. Like probably top 3 Hunger Games. Like I read it back, I don't even know. I would have probably been like 10 or 11 years old or 12. So it's been over 10 years since I've read that book series.
Crazy.
But it's one of the favorites, and so it was so fun talking about that. I think my top one, it's also as we were kind of like planning this, I'm like, wait, we kind of have like all our top ones are like based off of big books that we loved when we were kids.
It's a bit biased.
But our very first episode that we started talking about movies. So I'm sure if you guys could do a little quick scroll of our page, you could see that we first started like just like casual talking, or just like life topics, or like how to deal with like loneliness and stuff like that, like really cool episodes like that. But we were kind of like running out of like like a lot of these big topics that we both could talk about, because like I said earlier, we're 4 years different. So I was like, oh, I could talk about college, but when we first started this podcast, she wasn't in college. So she's like, how can I talk about that? And so we were like, what can we both talk about? And we realized it was movies and TV shows. And so the first episode that we did was based on Twilight. And
she watched the movie like 30 times.
I have, yes.
I was
obsessed. I can't watch the movies now. Like, they're so cringe. I can't.
No,
but I was obsessed. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I watched Twilight 30 times. New Moon, hated it. Eclipse, another 25, 30 times. Breaking Dawn Part 1, maybe 10. And Breaking Dawn Part 2, probably 20 times.
I low-key kind of like Breaking Dawn Part 1, like, better.
As I've gotten older, I like it a bit better. But when I was younger, I liked Part 2 better.
Because, like, bro, Part 2 just made me mad because it was all in, like, Alice's, like, head. Wasn't it Alice showing someone in the future? Or who... Where, like,
that was like battle. The last of it. Like, that was a very small
part.
Like,
that ruined the whole movie, because I thought like, oh, these people died and it was realistic, and I was like, nope, it was all in your head. Like,
that was the funniest.
I don't even know what that trope is called or whatever.
Have you seen the TikToks of people talking about that?
Yes.
Like how they when like I think it was 2008 that movie came out, or maybe it was 2013. I can't remember now.
Yeah, it might have, because it was one of the last ones.
Yeah, so when that movie came out, people didn't. This is the first time you're watching this, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's very common for a movie to just change the story. So everyone's screaming. They're like, Carlisle's dead. Like, they were freaking out. People, they said girls were screaming.
Happen in the book?
No.
I didn't know. I never finished the last. Or if I did, I read it a really long time
ago.
It
didn't happen like that.
So I was one of the people that was watching it, and I was like, what? I just like all these.
But like in the movie theater, you just hear a bunch of teenage girls screaming and crying like, Carlisle, like what?
I can't even imagine.
And then like it zooms out and it's a dream, and like people were just like, it was like they said you had to be there, you had to experience it.
I hate that. I hate that so much.
But I mean, I love talking about that episode. That was probably one of my favorites. There, Hunger Games for sure. We talked about Star Wars. We talked about Interstellar, Harry Potter. Just really just staple movies. They're just, I love them.
Yeah, so good.
Um, okay, so I think our next question is, what is a personal red flag or bad habit you're actively trying to unlearn right now? So I think for me, one would be just like I have this issue where I lack discipline in not staying up. Like I love, like as you've probably assumed, I love to read. I love to like kind of watch TV. And so I will spend my nights like reading. Like there's sometimes like if a book's so good, basically I've said that if a book is good, I should be able to stay up till 6 a.m. to read it. And I say that because it's true and it's happened to me.
It's so unhealthy.
It's very unhealthy. And so it's just a bad habit and something I'm trying to get better at. Like nowadays, I'm like, I'll put my phone across the room and charge it over there so that I don't have to deal with it and I don't have to get distracted, because like I'm trying to really build like discipline and better habits in sleeping and just waking up on time. And I feel like that first starts out with what time you go to bed.
Yeah, for sure.
And just discipline in like life in general, like in studying and just trying to do things. Like I want to be more disciplined, and I feel like that's one of my bad habits, that I lack a lot of discipline in some aspects. I mean, I'm always getting better, and there's some things I'm super disciplined in. Like there's certain things like don't mess with that because I have a way for it, and it's gonna happen the way I want it to. But there's other things where I wish I could be better, and that's just something I'm always working on.
Yeah, I mean everyone's working on something for sure, but I think kind of mine's a little similar to yours, but also kind of like different. I think for me is I'm like, and again, this probably goes for most people, but like I hold myself to a very like high standard in my accomplishments and my goals and in everything I do. And like yeah, that probably goes for most people. Like you want the best for yourself. Yeah. Obviously. And so, but I think sometimes like my red flag or toxic trait when I hold myself to higher standards, I hold other people to the same standard I hold myself in. And it's almost like when people deviate or people don't do something that I personally would do, like in a situation or like in a friend group or in whatever it is, I'm almost like, my respect for that person like drops, and like that, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like it's almost like it takes me a bit for like to come back and like talk to you, because I'm almost like, now why would you even think to do that, because I would never do that, which is like preposterous to say, because it's like, oh well, because I didn't do it, you should never do it. But I think kind of similar to you, like just that like not lack of like discipline necessary, but kind of like this lack of like I don't want to say empathy, that makes me sound like heartless, but like,
yeah, but no, it's just like you having your head like the way you want things to be, and it's sometimes hard to relate to someone if they're not thinking that way or they're not acting the way you think they should.
And it's like, and like it could be they're raised different, they grew up in a different environment, they have different ways of handling situations, and just like seeing that sometimes and knowing that does help, but like right off the bat when someone does something, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm just infuriated. Like I'm just like I'm just all in my head, but then I like think about it and I take a step back and I'm like, okay, well, I'm me and they're them and we're different people. And so I think one of my red flags is kind of just like, expecting people to always do everything the way I would do, when it's like, obviously that's not possible.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that it's good that you are reflecting on that. And you know that that's something that is a bad habit or a red flag of yours. Yeah. But like you're actively working on it every day. And I think that that's all we can do as humans and as people. Like, if you acknowledge that you have something that you're lacking in or something that you wish you were better at, just make sure you're trying to improve every single day. And I think that if we all tried to do that, it would be like we would all be one step better. And I don't know.
For sure. 100%. I think totally agree. But I think for our next question we had, this one's kind of an interesting one. It's, what's a moment that changed the way you see people? And I think for me, I just finished my first semester of college, like we said. This is like winter break, whatever you want to call it. Most people are back to work anyway at this point, but like,
well, that confuses me. I'm like, why are people working? Is it not New Year's Eve?
No, like my job is like open right now.
Oh.
I just get because I think the shifts are shorter. I
Mm.
just didn't get scheduled, but like I could have. But we're off for New Year's Day, so I don't know how that like correlates. But so like going to college, freshman, living on your own for the first time. There's a bunch of 18-year-olds. No one's lived on their own. Most people don't know how to cook, do their laundry, as I'm starting to notice, which is really like sad. But I think kind of like a moment that changed the way I see people was just going to college and seeing how people act, react, and handle situations, and also just handle living on their own. And again, this kind of goes back to the red flag of like holding people to the highest standard I hold myself, but just seeing that like people are so different. Like when you just see them in high school, or when you see them like once a week when you're hanging out with them, because college, most of those people you're seeing like every single day, and just seeing the way people handle like actually doing things for yourself and being independent, and like working through things instead of like complaining about things, and actually like getting assignments done. Like this isn't high school where you can procrastinate everything to the last day, and it's like, oh, no late like credit taken off, like no. And so I think for me, just going to college and seeing different people in like different areas of life definitely changes your view on them. When you see people in certain elements, it's like, whoa. It's like, it's not the same as seeing, Jim in the office once a week, or, whatever it is, or going to your hourly wage job and seeing, that one kid every other day of the summer. It's so different, and college is a different environment. And I think it really, truly does bring either the best or the worst out of people. And so I think just college in general just definitely like changed how I like see people for sure.
Yeah, I think that's very natural. I think that as we grow up, and maybe for some it's college, maybe it's working, I think you just realize that people are so different for you,
Yeah.
and the way people are raised, and people are just different. And I think for me, very kind of similar to that, but mine was very gradual. It was like, people don't necessarily think the same way, or have the same empathy as me, or hold me to the same standard and regard that I hold them to. And it was just a natural thing. And even till today, I'm still learning and navigating towards those feelings and towards these type of people that are so different from me. And I think that that's all a part of the human experience. But yeah, I think for me, it was gradual. I noticed, wait, like people are not like ready to be best friends with me like after like one meeting. Like I can be
Yeah.
best friends with them, but they can't be best friends with me. Or maybe people aren't as loyal as I thought they were, or maybe people are not as honest or have integrity. And this is just something that I feel like I've naturally come to learn and understand. And I think that for a lot of people, that's something that we all kind of get, because like you said, you meet people in school, in high school, in middle school, and you see them every day, but you see them for a few
like
hours.
their surface level self.
But then after that, like what's more than that? You don't really get to see that with a lot of people. But as you work with someone every single day, a lot of times you're working with someone for like hours on end, or you're going to school with someone hours on end, or you live with someone, you now have a roommate.
You have roommates, yeah.
Like you now see such a different perspective of people, and this changes how you see people. And sometimes it's really good. Sometimes you see the good in so many humans and people, but then sometimes it also can be bad, because you see the sadness and the depression and just the lack of love that people have for themselves and for others. But I think that like I wouldn't take these experiences away, because it's helped me to be able to come to where I am and to understand people, and to better know myself. Know, okay, this is where I stand with people. This is how I hold people to regard. And I love that about myself, that I can think of other people a certain way.
Yeah, for sure. I think just being able to see people at a deeper level is a privilege, and it can be a curse in a way, but it's like inevitably we need it.
Yeah,
for sure. But I think that's kind of all we have for this Q&A episode. This was super fun to kind of have playful but also deep questions. So if you guys made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. And if this is your 42nd episode with us, thank you for watching all of our episodes. If you haven't already, make sure to give this a like and subscribe if you haven't. And make sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube. Whatever you can do to help really does make a big change.
It does.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Okay. Bye.